Good evening, everybody. Rusty here for stunthanger.com. I just posted the link in Stunt Hanger for how to get on the chat tonight, and it's posted in the streaming. Let me go look. It's posted in the streaming video thread of Sparky's. It's down below the open forum and titled Wednesday Night Hangout, June 12th. And if you click that link, as long as you're signed in to Google, then you should be able to enter the Hangout with us. So I'll hang out here, wait and see who drops in. And while I'm waiting, see, it doesn't look like we have any viewers yet, but well, yeah, we do. We have two just popped in. I noticed on YouTube it says in the top left corner, YouTube/E3. So I clicked on E3 to see what it was, and it looks like it's a fairly large web producer that's hooked up with YouTube, probably owned by YouTube. Hell, I don't know. It looks like they're heavily biased towards the gaming technology, and they started yesterday, apparently. I don't know. But if you're into gaming, which I'd be surprised if anybody here is seriously into it, click on E3 and see what it is. And then next time we have a chat, come back and tell us. I started looking at it, but didn't have time to investigate it at all. But anyway, Monday night, and it's a typical Monday. Nothing inspiring happening here. I did get out and paint some this weekend. So I took a break tonight, went and sanded all the ridges off and let it sit another day before I start putting tape on it to make the second colors. Hope I can finally fly this plane by next weekend. This is the twister I've been talking about that I broke the wing on. So almost ready to fly. Once I get the paint on, I can put the controls back on. We went flying this weekend, flew a couple of patterns on Saturday. It was nice, but the sky was full of thermals and the wind was switching back and forth and back and forth. So I got lucky and caught a couple of long duration periods where I could do a whole pattern in the same place, but you never know. Yeah, I did have it change in the middle of an hourglass and had to do the slackline dance and pull it out. But anyway, it's good to get out to the field and get some practice. Hope y'all will join up with us. Let's see. I'm going to go over to the YouTube channel where you can see if I can find you guys and post the link in your chat box. I got to figure out how to find it, which I can't do yet. When I get it figured out, I'll post a link to this so that if you stumble upon us in YouTube, you can just click the link there too. Meanwhile, if you just go to stunthanger.com, the streaming video forum, and find tonight's thread that I just started a few minutes ago, click that link and come on in with us. And like I mentioned the other night, and it worked out a little bit, we talked about how you can't use your chat box to send messages to us for some reason. They don't share with our stream. However, if there is anything you want to ask or anything you want to contribute in an answer maybe to what we're talking about, or have some advice, or if there's any topic that you're interested in us talking about, then that you'd like to see us talk about, then post it in your chat box, and I'm going to drop in over there several times, maybe every 15-20 minutes during our live chat, see if there's anything you posted that you want us to talk about. So that way you can participate if you don't care to join the live feed. And we're finally getting more and more people able to get in. I think we've been having a glitchy time getting started, especially since I took over hosting it, but I'm kind of getting the hang of it. So the main thing I need to get the hang of is finding something to talk about in this 10 this 10 minutes before you guys come in with me and entertain me. So somebody come bail me out, okay? Or y'all are probably all sitting back laughing at me, seeing how long I can go. I don't know. But anyway, I'd be glad to see you. Come on in and visit with me. Oh, Uncle Rusty, your forum 60-year-old hippie. Well, that didn't work out very well. I don't know where my assistant, the professor, is. He's not sitting on the chair back there behind me tonight. He won't come in. Just opened the door and he sat there with his back to me. I do kind of have to get off a little early tonight. I'll probably shut it down about 11:30, maybe 12 if we get rocking and rolling pretty good. But I gotta get up in the morning. Usually I get to sleep later on Tuesday and Thursday mornings, but not tomorrow. Dead air time. Sorry, it's that Monday thing. I just don't have a whole lot to offer tonight, and I didn't bring anything for show and tell. That's what I can do. Bring in some show and tell. See, if I was out in my workshop, I could putter around like Sparky and be picking up an airplane and sanding on it or something like that. So what do you keep next to your computer table? How about that? Let's play. What do you keep next to your computer table? Let's see. I got, of course, I got a Sharpie. Everybody needs a Sharpie. I got a drill gauge that I can use for either drawing circles or looking at a measurement to see about what size it is. And I've got my decimal to fraction conversion chart taped next to my computer over there. I've got a protractor in case I need to suddenly measure an angle. Might be reading something interesting on Stunt hanger about building and need to kind of measure something to get an idea of what you're talking about. Okay, I'm dying here, people. Somebody please come in and visit me. We were talking about, well, there was a guy on with us the other night. Chris is a machinist by trade. And so I mentioned that I've been watching a YouTube channel lately for entertainment. And the guy's channel name is AVE. And he puts Bolter, B-O-L-T-R, in all of his YouTube video title names. And so I don't know if he calls himself Bolter, or that's never been clear to me, but he's a machinist making videos in his home workshop. And I can learn all kind of stuff from him, but he's got his own kind of goofy vocabulary. And he's Canadian, which isn't responsible necessarily for the goofy vocabulary. But once you get past that and understand what the hell he's talking about, because he makes up his own words for some things, you can learn a lot of stuff from him. He does cool stuff. He tears down tools and compares them, kind of like Tim the Toolman Taylor, only he'll tear down old Sawzall brand Sawzalls and see how they're made compared to the new ones and analyze them and tell us whether they're worth buying. He tears down Harbor Freight stuff to dig out engineered obsolescent parts that are designed to break down on us after our $40 that we paid for it wears off, which isn't but a week or two. So that's interesting. AVE Bolter. If you search for AVE Bolter on YouTube, he's a pretty entertaining guy. There's another, one of our guys the other night, I think it was Bob Bishop, might have been the one, can't remember. I talked to several people and communicated with them that were over on the YouTube side, but one of them wrote down a bunch of good machinists related YouTube channels for me to take a look at, because I mentioned that if I had one of those elusive do-overs, I'd like to be a machinist, you know, to at least learn that as a skill while I was coming along, getting my education. And I regret not knowing more about it now, because I've become particularly interested in it since I've gotten so deeply back into modeling the past few years. But Mr. Pete, M-R-P-E-T-E, just MRP 222. These are some of the channels that you can search for on YouTube. Let's see. Rob Renz, R-O-B-R-E-N-Z. And there's a note by it saying he's a really sharp guy. And actually, I clicked on that one the other night after I signed off here and watched a few minutes, and it was pretty interesting. There's another called Click Spring on YouTube, a machinist. And so, you know, if you're interested, you can write those down and check them out. They're fun to watch. You always learn something. I learned a lot more about how to choose the right bit from a drill for the job I'm doing, and or why I use the bits that I do. There's some things that I've just done because I guessed it was the right way to do, or saw somebody else do and never really knew, never had anybody with any authority on the subject tell me about it. And that's what Stunt Hanger's been great for, is of course, you know, you get into forums and you learn to cherry pick and figure out who are the ones that you really want to trust for advice that are consistent with the ways you do things. There's you know, lots of different ways to crack an egg. So, you know, you'll find people that consistently do things the way that it makes sense to you. And so, you know, you could, there's, depending on who it is, there's enough members to where there's lots of different directions you can go in using people's advice. But I guess everybody gets a group of names, member names, that they know that they want to see the answers when a question's posted, or that they hope answers. I always hope certain people answer when I post a question, and I post more questions than I do any other comments, I guess. And especially when I first started, I came in as a beginning stunt flyer, and I had lots and lots of questions, and there were lots of guys like, you know, Doc Holliday and Steve helped me out. They would either, I think both of them have sent me stuff, you know, when I was first getting started. Always appreciate that. So it's nice to have this source of information that modelers never had up until this generation of you know, computer communication accessibility, where we can get together all over the world. But anyway, I got a few more names on that list. I might get over to the YouTube side and post them. I had trouble figuring out how to get into that site the other night to watch y'all that are watching me over on YouTube, and I don't remember how I got in, but let's see, I'll keep clicking and refreshing. Oh, I see. I have to be signed in as me over there and not Stunt Hanger. Also need to make sure I don't shut this chat down by accident while I'm dicking around. Okay, I figured it out. Here it is. Got to click on that, and I should see myself talking, or hear myself talking. See, I'll keep clicking and click. Oh, okay, we got Thomas Greasy watching. Come on, Tom, what are you doing over there? And Wally Haskett. I got my camera now for the setup, so I can come on with you guys. Okay, so I know Wally and Tom are within distance of bailing me out. What are you guys doing over there? Come on back and help your old Uncle Rusty out. I'm dying over here. I got 8 viewers and no love. This is going to end up being the most embarrassing episode I ever did. And I'm making it worse on myself by saying that, no doubt. Put my protractor and my tool gauge away. None viewers. Oh, I do know now that I can access you guys over on the YouTube page. I'm going to go over there and post the link to this chat in case you can't. There we go. Okay. Look in your chat box over on your right. I just posted the link to this if anybody wants to click that to get in. Maybe the problem is as directed by the president, Sparky, I did not post the link in the open forum tonight. I just posted it in the live streams forum under the top thread Monday Night Hangout. And that's where I'm going to continue to post. And now that I've got the link alive over on your chat box, please click on that and come visit me. Maybe that's why nobody's coming to see me. Hey, Steve. All right. Which Steve have we got coming up here?
Hi there.
Hey, Steve. How you doing, man?
Good.
I'm dying over here. I needed you to come bail me out. How you doing?
Pretty good. What are you up to?
I'm sitting here blabbering in front of the camera waiting for somebody's face to pop up so I'll have somebody to talk to. And I clicked start stream and my brain just went blank. I could not think of a dang thing to talk about. And so I've just been jabbering the best I can. But there's 8 viewers and a bunch over on YouTube. And I just posted the link over in the YouTube chat box. It took me a while to figure out how to get to them. I forgot I had to log in under a different account to be able to see the stream and chat over there.
Oh.
But I told everybody that's been watching that I'm going to take questions and comments from over there. So I'll drop in every 15 or 20 minutes to see what they've been posting about in case they got something they want us to talk about. And it looks like Wally just signed in, but I don't see a camera turned on or I don't see a microphone turned on. So Wally, if you let's see, if you run your mouse, if you're on a PC, up to the top of the screen right above my head and click on camera and microphone to open those up, and we can hopefully get you started talking to us. So what you up to, Steve?
Oh, not much. I got the top block put on my little airplane, so I might do some standing tonight.
Yeah. Okay, so you got it covered with DC 540 now? or was that on there?
Yeah, most of it. I haven't chopped this part yet.
Yeah, but Sparky told you just do the parts of the wings that have wood under them, right?
Yeah, just the leading edge, like in the trailing edge, the
Yeah.
wingtips.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I didn't know the answer to that. I'm glad I backed out of trying to answer it before I gave you any bad advice. But yeah, so that's good when Sparky comes on, and we got a couple of other people. Mark Scarborough came on a couple of times back in the winter, and he knows a lot about building and finishing, and but he's got a schedule problem with getting in here with us.
Oh,
So I hope he'll drop in. It looked like Wally was trying to do something, but still didn't get in. Okay, I saw Wally pop up there, but still no sound or video.
I don't see a picture yet either.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can, yeah.
Well, I
Still
got
don't
my
see
new
it.
camera in, and I don't know what it's going to take to make it work.
Yeah, I got the audio now.
Yeah. Well, audio is better than nothing.
Yeah.
It's better than having video and no audio. We've had visitors that just went audio before, but you found where I was talking about to turn your mic and camera on up top.
No, I haven't. Let me get out of YouTube here.
Oh yeah, you definitely got to do that. Are you on a PC?
There we go. Yeah, I'm on a laptop.
Okay. Yeah. Well, if you
Or
mouse
not
up,
a laptop, but a PC.
yeah, if you mouse up right to the top of the screen, almost to the top, a bar will pop up with a little a guy with a plus sign, a microphone, a camera, and a bandwidth bar, and you can turn your mic and camera on and off there if the computer's already recognizing your camera. Otherwise, you'll have to venture off. Okay, now I see your microphone's been turned off. Now it's back on. Okay. But if you can't get the camera on there, I guess go into your local camera settings and see if there's something about recognizing it. Have you got a new camera, Wally?
Yes, it's brand new. I've
Yeah.
never used one.
It's probably something. It probably installs some things to click in your start menu or on your desktop for settings and recognizing it. Well, I went out and finally actually got some real paint on my twister the other night, and
All right.
it felt good to actually paint on something after dicking around with it all winter long. And so the thing is, now I'm painting it 3 tones, and I've got the white base on all of the plane, but I was scared to put tape on the fresh white paint today. It was lacquer, and it felt completely dry, and it was hard enough to wet sand the ridges off around where the masking tape was, but I wasn't going to risk putting tape on it. So I'm hoping tomorrow to go out there and get the blue nose and the red underbelly painted, and then get the rods on that sucker and go fly. Mount the engine too. In fact, I better pop the back plate off of that engine and have a look. It's a ball bearing engine, and the last time it flew, it had a crash. So need to make sure there's no dirt in the bearings. Give it a good blast of brake parts cleaner. A brake parts cleaner enema will clear it out. Either that or embed the dirt deeper in there. Probably should, I guess what I should do is take the back plate off, take the prop driver off, and shoot a hard stream directly into the front bearing, and then let it wash out through the back, and then oil it back up and put it together, I think. I don't know, I hadn't had that many ball bearing engines. But I'm thinking that if you dork one into the dirt, you shouldn't crank it up and fly it again without cleaning the bearings out. Do you have any ball bearing engines?
I do.
Do you? What? How do you
I
treat
don't think
them?
I've ever stuck one in the dirt. I've crashed a few,
Yeah,
but not bad like that. But that'd be a good idea to clean it up. Just
yeah,
make sure it's clean.
yeah. This was a full power nosedive, so yeah, it definitely ate some dirt. The Venturi was full of it, so I
Oh
knew
man, yeah.
pulling it all through the engine. The back bearing's certainly going to have dirt in it. I guess I really ought to knock the bearings out of it and clean them. That's not too hard to do, though. Just heat it up with a heat gun and bang them out. And they usually come pretty easy. How you doing, Wally?
Well, it says I need to turn my camera on, but I'm not sure how to do it.
Where does it say that? Is that in your camera settings or is that on the Google chat?
It's on your Google here.
I think you need to go into your camera settings. I mean, if clicking that doesn't fix it, then go into your start menu and see where your newly installed camera put the icons to click to open its own software up, and maybe there's something in there where you can let the machine know that that's your default camera, or go to control. What are you running? Windows 10?
Yep.
If you just hit the start menu and click camera settings, hit the little start window at the far left, type camera settings after you click that, or press the Windows key and type camera settings, and I bet it'll take you right to where you need to go. That's one thing I really like about Windows 10. You don't have to remember where all the crap in the control panel is. All you got to do is know what you're looking for, press the Windows key, type in the name of what you're looking for, and it'll find it and take you to it. It'll be with devices, printers, and all of that junk too. If camera settings doesn't work when you type that in, type in device settings. And that should
Make sure it's selected in the Google Hangout. Because that's a new camera, you might have to drop it down and select that camera.
yeah, that's true. Oh, I guess if you're on the Google page, you can click that square box. It's like a matrix of 9 square boxes, and if you click that, all the apps drop down, and Google Hangouts is all the way at the bottom. You got to scroll and click that, and then you have access to your Google settings. That might be where it is. If that was too vague, I'll try to re-explain it in a minute. Let me see what you work out first. I'm going to swing over to the YouTube page and see what those guys are putting on their chat box. And Thomas Creasy, hello, Gerald. Okay, we've got, yeah, Wally's and me, and Gerald Wimmer is over there, New Zealand. Hey, Gerald, glad to see you. Thanks for coming to visit us. And the link is right above, a couple of posts above yours. If you want to click that, if you're signed into Google, then you can come in here and visit with us. I guess Tom Creasy will come in when he's not occupied with something else. But nobody's asked any questions or posted any thing they want us to talk about. But that's what you can use your chat box for over there, all of you YouTube viewers, because we can't see you posting that over here, but I go look at it and check once in a while.
Hey, Wes.
I just saw a new face pop up. Minnesota Mike, how you doing, dude?
Good. How about you?
Good.
All right.
Glad to see you.
Yeah. Finally got Wi-Fi.
All right. Oh man, you're in a full-blown garage back there. What you got with the hood up behind you?
Oh, that's my drag car. I altered the wheelbase in a '64 Dart.
Oh, Moparts. Yeah.
440. I don't know if you can see the motor.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Now,
Moved the front axle forward 5 inches. I put a straight front axle in it, and then I moved the rear axle forward 12.
now you running on all motor, or you got nitrous or anything like that on it?
No, it's just motor.
That's my favorite way to run,
Yeah.
because that's all we had. Either that or superchargers back when I drag raced, but that was in about 1980 or so.
I have about it's a 630 lift cam in it, so it's pretty hot.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a small block. It was a 4-bolt 350 with the double hump heads on it, and had a solid lifter cam in it when I first got it, but I switched it over to hydraulic because I was running a Muncie 4-speed, and I didn't want to blow the damn push rods out of the top of the engine if I missed a gear. So
Right.
I don't know. You know, I was not running high-end rocker arms and all that stuff either. This was just a shade tree production.
Right.
Literally had a concrete slab in my backyard and a '67 Camaro Super Sport.
This motor here is fresh. I just put it in and broke it in, but now I have some issues with my ignition on it, so I got to go with the hotter ignition system.
So
My last engine, I had 2 passes on it and I broke the cam.
holy shit, really?
Yeah.
Did you say broke the cam?
Yeah, they broke the cam off at the snout.
Man. What was putting so much stress on it?
Just the torque, I guess. And it was a purple cam, and it only had single bolt.
Uh-huh.
So that could have been a problem.
Are you guys still driving the cams with a chain, or are y'all using a belt?
Yeah, this is all old school. It's all chain stuff.
Yeah.
Nostalgic stuff is what I like. We just race at Eagle Field.
Yeah. So what you say you just got it broken in? Have you done any passes at the track?
We just had a race a couple weeks ago, and I brought my trailer over to load the car up, and it wouldn't fire. So that I haven't run this motor on the track yet.
You're kind of breaking up there, but I guess it's your connection. I catch most of what you're saying though. But so what kind of are you running 1/8 miles or quarter miles?
It's 1/8 mile on an old runway at an old abandoned.
Oh, so this is with no prep in the launching area or anything, or have they got it set up like a drag strip?
Oh, no prep. It's all just like a parking lot. It's fun. It's the way it used to be.
Yeah.
If you look it up online, it's eaglefielddragracing.com.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to take a look. I like to look at drag racing stuff once in a while.
It's all nostalgic stuff, pretty much. You know, all the old cars are coming from barns and stuff.
Yeah.
We get people from Washington and Oregon and Idaho and all that come over.
I was watching a guy over on the East Coast called Blue Bayou. It's it looks like a 56 or 55 Chevy. He calls it a gasser, I'm not sure what that means, but it's got a rump 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 sound while it's idling, and then when he lights into it, I mean it's like he pulled a trigger on a cannon, and I love watching that guy race.
They probably overdriven blower.
Yeah, it's got something big sitting on top of the motor. It's a blower.
Right.
Now, those things are pretty parasitic, aren't they? How much horsepower does it take off of the engine to run that blower?
Takes a lot of horsepower to run a blower. It takes
Really?
a lot of horsepower to run an alternator even.
What's an outlayer?
Alternator.
Oh, an alternate. Oh, yeah.
Even a water pump takes a lot of horsepower.
Yeah.
You disconnect all that stuff, you'd be surprised at how much you gain.
What about going electric with some of those things, like the water pump?
Yeah, you could do that.
I mean, you got the extra weight of the battery, but that shouldn't be that big a consideration. But
You run a battery trunk anyhow, so.
yeah. Yeah, I had the battery in my trunk.
I have my airplane stuff here. It's kind of slowed down. I had a heat stroke a while back, and I get so damn dizzy now. I don't fly much anymore. So
Oh gosh, I hope you think you'll get over that.
I hope.
Did that happen this season already?
That was a couple years ago.
Oh, was it? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
But
Yeah, I had a problem all winter where I couldn't look up without, problems like that. But it's finally cleared up, and I was able to fly in the contest when the season started this spring.
Right. I got a bunch of airplanes. I try to fly, and I can go around for a while, and I get so dizzy I hit the dirt. So I got to learn all those.
Well, do you know how to do lazy eights, where you can plant your feet and just stand there and fly back and forth?
Yeah, I was doing lazy eights even on the ground.
You can do overhead eights while you're laying on the ground. You can probably do better overhead eights laying on your back than you can standing up.
Yeah.
I've never tried it. If I ever fall down, it's entirely likely I might try doing some overhead eights if I've still got the handle in my hand when I hit the ground.
Right. I had a friend for a while, and he picked it up on it real quick, and he was doing good. And then all of a sudden, one day, he just said, "No, I don't want to do it no more."
Hey, let me ask you guys. I was adjusting my microphone, trying to get rid of some of the chatter I hear in the background when I talk. Am I coming through loud enough?
Yeah.
Seems to be.
Am I? Okay, good. Because I talk loud anyway, but I wasn't sure because I had turned it down significantly. And I'm not hearing as much chatter tonight as I was. Steve, you were on here the other night, and it was
It sounds great tonight.
crazy. Yeah, maybe that's because I turned my mic volume down a little bit.
Well, I know some of them just watching on YouTube. Boy, it's just the echo was so bad, I just turned it out.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. I didn't think it recorded it one night, but then this last session we did on Friday night, it recorded all of that. It was irritating.
Sure did.
I was gonna. That Michael was gonna be on here. I was interested in that speed plane he's got.
Who was it you said you wanted to ask about it?
Yeah, that speed plane he's got. I was wondering what you wanted for. I think he said something. He had a bunch of combat stuff too, I heard, but I don't know.
So how much speed have you done? Is that one of the things you did when you were flying?
Yeah. I used to fly when I lived up in North Dakota, and then I come back here, and then it's been like 30 years. I just started back up again a few years ago, and then I had that heat stroke, and it just
Yeah.
took it all away again.
You know, something we do to try and prevent heat stroke is I carry a bottle in our flight box, a bottle of that menthol or wintergreen rubbing alcohol, and you buy it at the drugstore or grocery store right next to the regular bathroom alcohols, but it's green. And pour a few glugs of that in some melting cooler ice and soak a rag in that and wring it over your head and let it run down your back. It'll make you scream out loud, but boy, it will take the heat straight out of your head and fend off heat stroke on those 110-degree summer days.
Worst part about
Try that.
the temperatures, you know, it gets to 150, 120 degrees here, and was welding, making semi-trailers. That's where it all happened.
Oh, yeah. Well, welding on a 120-degree day, yeah. That's a good way to heat up pretty quick.
Yeah, I'm used to the 30 below weather, you know.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, I will get with my computer guy tomorrow and see what I got to do to get this camera rolling. I can't seem to make it go. I loaded the driver for it, which was through the internet, and it doesn't seem to be doing its job either. So,
Okay. Well, sorry about that. I mean, you're welcome to hang around with just your avatar. Others have done it before too.
yeah, I'll do that. I've been actually on YouTube with you guys for the last probably 3 to 4 weeks. I just haven't been communicating or anything, but I've been there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're glad to have you. Thanks for coming on in. And how did you get in? Which link? Did you click the one that I posted on YouTube, or did you click the one in Stunt Hanger?
I did the one that you posted on YouTube.
Okay, good. It took me I was a little late getting that posted, but now I know how to do it. So, are
I
you a
went
member?
into Stunt and I couldn't find that one.
Which one?
The one in Stunt Hanger, I couldn't find it, so I come in on YouTube.
Oh, did you? Okay. Yeah, we've been a little wishy-washy on Stunt Hanger, but it is now consistently in the forum that's called live streams. If you click stunthanger.com and enter the main forum and the open forums at top, if you scroll down, the next forum you'll see is live streams, and the post for each night's hangout will be the first thread in that. That'll be the first post in that forum. So that's where I put it every night.
Yeah, the ones up, they were all last Friday or last Wednesday.
Yeah. Sparky told me to quit posting
The one
up there.
tonight said Wednesday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was trying to get in there too. Ended up going over into YouTube.
Yeah, Sparky told me to quit posting them up there and just post them in that one place. So I'm gonna close that thread and put a note for people to drop down. I'll put a link to the other thread where it is, and that way you can bookmark it when you get there the first time and won't have any trouble finding it again. And but it's easy to find. It's if you go to the main forum, then it's the next one under open forums, and it just says live streaming or something like that at the top.
Or at the bench.
At the bench. That's it. Yeah.
That's where I came in tonight.
Okay. Yeah. At the bench. That's the name of it.
Now, Rusty, you guys are usually coming on at what is it, 9 o'clock your time? I'm 8:24 right now at my time.
Actually, I've shifted it down to about 9:30 because it's so many people. It's too early for at 9 o'clock Eastern. So about 9:30 Eastern in that area. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays is a general rule. Once in a while I'll come on randomly on the weekend, and if you are signed into YouTube or Google, you'll get a notification that a live chat started up there in the top right next to your little round avatar, notifications will have a new feed in it. So if you check there, you can click on a link. I don't even have to post one there. It always shows up like that. So
Yeah, I seen that. I think it was Saturday night. Wasn't he on for a little while Saturday?
Sparky was on, and I missed him. I was.
Oh, that's right.
So he must have come on just for a little while and gone off, because I couldn't see that anything happened, and I wasn't able to access that video either. So it must have been a test or something he was doing. I'm not sure, or he might have just come on for a minute to see if anybody would show up. But he was trying. I know he was probably experimenting to see if he could do it from the hotel, because I don't think he was at home. I think he was in a hotel in Dayton. That's where he's been working lately, and there's not enough bandwidth for him to do enough there. And so when he's working in Dayton, I'm hosting, and when he's back in Minnesota, he'll probably be hosting. So we kind of switch off whenever one can do it or whenever the other can do it.
Well,
Well,
watching time, I just tried to get on and it never seemed to work for me.
Yeah, it's you got to jump through the right hoops, and after I did it and got in, I can't ever remember, like when I do something like that, I can't always remember exactly what the hell I did to get in. So trying to tell somebody else how to do it is kind of sketchy sometimes.
Well, you
But-
know, I've been watching, I've seen that Charles Carter on, and our contest that he comes to every year, it was in October, and I was passing out the name tag. I had his name tag in my hand for all day, and he never showed up.
I like Charles. He's a pretty cool guy. Now he's in California, near San Diego, Escondido maybe. But he's, so he's just getting home from work and having supper, and he's 3 hours later than Eastern time. So he doesn't always get to come on at night, and he's got family matters to take care of too. He's got a young family at home to tend to. But I like Charles a lot. He's a pretty cool guy.
Yeah, I live in Clovis. It's I don't know how many hours north of him, right next to Fresno.
Uh-huh. Does Escondido sound right to be near San Diego?
I think so. I'm not too familiar with that area down there.
Really? And are you living now where you said it got to 120 degrees in the summertime?
Yeah, it's in the San Joaquin Valley.
And is that desert?
Yeah, Fresno. I live in a little town called Clovis. I'm only probably 50 miles from Yosemite.
Oh, no kidding. Really? Have you ever been there?
Yeah, it's a joke.
Oh, really?
Yeah, too many people.
I have never been out to as far as California. I've been to Las Vegas and briefly New Mexico, but have never made it as far west as excuse me, as far as California.
I had two
really
gold
like to
claims, and that used to be pretty fun. Actually, I could see more from there than I could going in the park.
I'd really like to visit the desert Southwest, Arizona, New Mexico, and see the old Indian ruins and the arts and craft work that they do out there with the minerals that are available. It's amazing, and never have had the opportunity to get out there though. When I went,
rocks and gemstones out of the gold claims I got, and some of it is pretty neat stuff.
yeah, jade and turquoise are two minerals that are indigenous, that's the wrong word, but to that area, aren't they?
Well, the turquoise is more Arizona.
Uh,
But the dad put a Jade Cove over on the coast, and I guess there's supposed to be a lot of it under the water, but it's all being picked up.
yeah.
Then you get up by Mariposa up here, you know, and they got serpentine and all that stuff up in that area. That's kind of like jade.
Mm-hmm.
I got to make a holder for my telephone.
Yeah, I had to Gary rig somehow to prop mine up one night. I joined the chat from my workshop, and I had to jam it between a couple of standing blocks and prop it up so that it was precariously pointed at the wing I was working on. And then, of course, I had 2 bars of Wi-Fi because my shops are 150 feet from the house. But it actually worked pretty good. It just drained the crap out of my phone battery. It drained it faster than I could charge it. I guess that was because it was working so hard to stay connected to the Wi-Fi.
Right.
And you got all kind of cool stuff. You got a Goodyear blimp. Let me, hang on, I'm going to click on your, yeah, Goodyear blimp. What's that official sign back there on the wall?
Junk. Oh, that's for the, I can't even see now what, it's smog station. I had to hang all that stuff. I had a garage fire a year and a half ago, and it took everything out of the garage.
That reminded me of something I need to make sure y'all know is, you see all of our faces down at the bottom. Well, if somebody's holding up something you want to look at and you want to lock onto their screen, just click on it and it'll be circled by a white square, a white border, and it'll stay locked onto that screen until you click on it again. And
Okay.
When I do that, it records it to whatever screen I've got locked in. But yeah, I can click on I can click on Steve and see just him, or I can click it off. As long as none of them are circled by that white border, then it just switches back and forth to whoever's making noise or moving around the post. I think it's motion sensitive too.
That Steve looks like he's building a plane from the 40s, huh?
Yeah, that's a Perky.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's I think it's designed in 46. I'm putting some filler up on the little crack.
Oh, yeah.
Now we're getting feedback through a YouTube channel or something now. Anybody got YouTube running in the background?
Nope.
He just come in, Gerald.
Hey, Gerald. Hey, Gerald. Make sure you've got your YouTube page turned off in the background.
Steve, that a sport motor goes in that?
I've got a Super Tiger 15 with a rear intake.
Okay.
I'm gonna go over.
It's got to be a 15, and you got to run suction.
Okay. Wow. It's a lot of work putting them together.
Yeah, I've never built one up like this before.
I think they're harder than the new style nowadays that they have, the kits.
I think so too. Well, I saw one guy on Stunt Hanger that built, it was all wood, but he built the bottom to be like a pan. And then he just bolted the top on like you would a regular speed plane. Right. And that looked like a pretty good way to do it.
Is a magnesium pan lighter than wood?
No, I don't know. This is pretty light, the bottom part.
Gerald Wimmer's trying to get in. Hey, Gerald.
Hello. Sorry, I
There we
thought
go.
the wrong thing.
Okay, well, you got your microphone on now. But if you are you on a PC or what kind of computer are you on?
I'm on a PC laptop on Windows 10.
Yeah, if you mouse up to the top center of the a video window, a bar will pop up, and there's a camera and a microphone with slashes through them. If you click that camera, see if you can get your video to come on. We got another Wally over here has got the same problem. He can't get his camera to work.
Okay, I'll do it again.
Now Steve went out.
Huh?
I see Steve. You with us, Wally?
I'm still here.
Okay. Yeah, no, we got a good audio reception with you.
Yeah, that's good. I'm gonna change my hearing setup that I have here too. I'm gonna get me a new pair of earmuffs or something.
Yeah, full earmuffs are better than earbuds.
Yeah, this one here just sits on your ear, and it's the little foam insulator deals are all wore out. So,
Oh, Gerald's got his video working.
oh, there you go.
Yeah, excuse me for the big mess. I'm tidying up the kitchen, and I thought I'd turn it on and have a look what's happening while I'm tidying up my mess before my wife gets home and my boys get home. So sorry about the mess in the kitchen.
Oh, that's okay. Hey, man, if you're not making a mess, you're not doing anything.
Yeah, I've got to tidy up all my old air modelling magazines, but some of them are quite good. Here's an interesting cover of an old Flyers Wheel magazine.
All right. Model Flyers.
Nice.
But yeah, there's a strong interest in flying control line here in New Zealand, but diminishing numbers, aging population. Most of us are all over 50, and we struggle to get the numbers up.
There are a few members from New Zealand on both stunthanger.com and rcgroups.com. Are you a member of those forums, either one?
I'm a member of Stunt Hanger, and I've joined Sticker Stunt in the past. I'm actually the secretary-treasurer of the Auckland Free Flight Club, and it's a club that specialises in control line and free flight in Auckland, but most of the control line interest in New Zealand would be in New Plymouth, which is further south, and Hamilton, again, which is further south from where I live. I'm on the top of the North Island of New Zealand.
Uh-huh.
But we've actually got 2 control line sites on our own property. I live on a small farm, and we've got 2 circles, and I've got a wife that flies control line and 2 sons that fly control line.
Oh, great.
Nice.
Okay, so you got some help, somebody to pit for each other and all. It's nice to have 2 or 3 people to fly with.
Yes, we regularly meet with other people in the main metropolitan area in Auckland, but when we can, we fly at home. And one of the reasons for buying a small farm and having our own control line sites is it's always been hard to find a site in Auckland, and we've been pushed off so many different sites as the developments just increased, and the pressure of population growth in Auckland has been tremendous in the last few years. So we've had probably about 3 or 4 different control line sites that just out of them in the past.
Mm-hmm.
We one great site that we used to have was at the Museum of Transport and Technology in Auckland, and that was a site set up by Dave Wright, a keen control line stunt flyer who came out here from England, and we used to fly there for many years until they moved their hangar and we lost our site.
Yeah.
But it's a common story.
Is free flight big then?
Free flight's still quite big, but most of flying is outside of Auckland now because of the metropolitan growth. most free flights in sites that are more remote rural sites.
I'm
What's
just,
what's your preferred type of control line model to fly? Do you fly any stunt, or do you like half A, or what's your favorite?
Well, my favorite is control line stunt and control line scale. And I've got my boys both building control line stunt models. They enjoy scale in particular because they're only young, they're 8 and 10,
Yeah.
and scale's easy to fly. But my wife's flying.
There's a lot of people that love scale, and you can really get involved in details about airplanes. And of course, if you do competitive scale, then you've got to be able to document all that stuff. But I think I'd rather do it just to have it to look at and fly and play with. Maybe you'd call mine standoff scale, where you stand off 10 feet and it looks like a, particular type of plane, but doesn't have to meet all the rigorous requirements that competitive scale guys have to meet.
is it all diesel?
Well, we mainly fly glows. Diesel fuel's become hard to get in New Zealand. We can't buy it. We have to make it ourselves. And the difficulty is getting the ether. So my motors tend to be all larger glows. I routinely use an old Enya 703260, and I've got a Fox Hawk that I use on a control line stunt. I should go and grab a couple of models, and I can show you a couple of my models.
Okay.
Before my boys come home and
Love
sign
to
out.
see 'em.
Okay, I'll go and grab them.
It took me a minute to lock into that New Zealand accent. His bandwidth is pretty low, so it's a little fuzzy too. But I'm glad to have somebody from off the North American continent come in and talk to us. I think that's the first visitor we've had from afar. And there are a lot of Australian control line flyers, but hadn't had any of those guys come in here yet.
What happened to Daryl?
I don't know. I hadn't seen Daryl since he went on vacation back around Christmas. I think he popped in once or twice, but that's about all.
Yeah.
Okay, I've brought in some of my son's models because they're easy to bring into the kitchen. This is a Grumman Wildcat.
All right.
Otherwise called a martlet, with the English version of the Grumman Wildcat, and he flies it in novice scale, with the basic profile scale model. And the other one that I brought in, this is my 10-year-old's model. It's a Kawasaki Ken, or Tony. They've both got OS15s on them.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
They're both
very nice.
simple little plane models.
Wow.
Y'all remember you can lock his screen in when he's showing us his planes, and that way it doesn't flick off while he's showing them to us.
They're built-up wings, though, are they?
Those are both solid wing models, just a simple 3/8 thick wing, and they've both just got a simple uniflow tank, and they're basically like a little trainer, or like a little rat race or something, but it's suitable for people that are learning to fly, and very rugged, easy to repair. I'll go and grab one of my stunt models.
I still have one of my planes from when I was a kid. It's kind of covered up here under my junk, though, but I don't have a motor on it right now. They had, I think it was a Hawks 35 on it. It was 35 didn't have very many runs on it.
I got a glimpse of it. What was it, a twister or something like that?
It was a Sky Ray.
Oh,
Let me grab it and move it here.
I hear Gerald's got another plane for us. What you got there, Gerald?
Oh, this one's actually a twister, but it's reworked as a Fort Vindicator.
I
That's
love
cool.
the paint job on it.
Yeah.
That's a great color scheme.
Very nice, man.
I don't have no picture of them.
You don't have a picture of Gerald?
No.
I got him. Does anybody
I got
else not see Gerald?
That's a very nice job, Gerald. Oh, you flying that carrier?
I set it up to fly carrier, but I think I'm the only one with the carrier model in flying order in New Zealand at the moment. So I'm trying to get it. I'm just keen on the idea of flying carrier. And I've set it up as a 2.4 gigahertz control for the motor and the carrier hook. And
Nice,
it's got a Fox 40 on it, one of the old large frame Fox 40s.
I have never flown carrier, but I love to watch them because that's one thing our club does at contests is carrier combatants, the different types of stunt. And yeah, carrier, those planes haul ass too. I mean, carrier planes always look like the ugliest lineup out there because they look like they're all really beat up and well used, and they do take a pound and flying carrier. But I love to watch them fly, especially when they go full throttle and just scream around the circle with the pilot leaning back on his knees. I mean, back on his heels, holding onto the plane, both hands on the handle, and then slow down to a crawl and prop hang.
You know, most of the guys I seen fly that in North Dakota, they were all in their 70s and 80s.
Yeah, we're gray-haired athletes. Well, Gerald's not gray-haired, but you will be.
Hey, Gerald, how did you run your lead outs through that wing with that dihedral?
The bell crank is mounted at the bottom, and then they basically, the angle of it's not sufficient to cause it to bind. They work quite well. The main problem is I had to have a ball joint arrangement on the flaps because of the dihedral, and I used the 1/10 scale RC car U joints on the flaps.
Oh yeah, that didn't even occur to me.
You can make those flaps like that in with the joint they call a oh shoot, what do they call it? There's a few guys doing them.
It's
They got like a universal joint on it.
No,
like
it's a slide joint. Oh, I can't believe I can't think of the name of it right now.
Talking about lucky boxes, are you?
Yeah, you could do a lucky box in there, and in that one you could do just a straight piece of metal between two pieces of hardwood coming out your other side of your other flap, and that way it would slide, that metal would slide in between those two, and that would work really well for you too, doing that with that dihedral. That's a cool airplane.
Yeah, that is. And the flaps problem didn't even occur to me until you said something about it. I'm glad you mentioned that.
But the thing is it's working for you, right?
Well, it's not too floppy. It seems to work well.
Yeah, good.
I didn't know about using the sliding box arrangement until I read about El Rave. I think somebody was
that
using
sounds
it.
like.
Yeah, there's a few guys using them with those different angles in their wings. You can even use them in a Mustang, you know, where they got the dihedral coming out of the body, right there out of the body. You can use them to where you don't have to use two control rods coming out of there. You can use your single control rod with your control horn going into lucky boxes, which will do the same thing. That's just an option if you do one down the road, but that's a cool airplane.
Yeah, and every plane you bring out's got a different color prop on it. What kind of propellers are you using?
Master S crew, and this one's an old Tornado, one of the old yellow Tornadoes. I've
Yeah,
got quite a collection of props going back 40 years or so since I started modeling. Modeling.
That Fox engine you have on there, that large case, coffin case they call them. I'll bet I have a half a dozen of those 40s, even into the 45 and 50s. Yeah, those are real good engines. They put out a lot of power.
Yeah, it's quite amazing compared to an LA 46 or something that I've run before. It makes a lot more power for size.
That 40 had run circles around LA 46 because I've got them both.
Mike, we lost your picture.
Yeah, that'd be fun to fly that, all right.
Yeah, the only mistake I probably made was when I used the 2.4 gigahertz. It's my control setup. I'll go and grab the controller and I'll show you the setup that I use that I need to improve on. I'll grab it anyway.
Oh, right on.
Hey, Mike, are you having problems with your camera?
Yeah, we got two of us on here without cameras.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, hopefully I'll have mine rolling by the next time.
Hey, Jared Hayes.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. How you doing, Jared?
Oh, not too bad.
I saw you getting some awards on Shug's video the other day.
Did you?
Yeah. Shug always does good documentaries.
Yeah, was that over there at the PAL Park?
That was in Utah, or not Utah?
Iowa.
Iowa. Yeah.
Des Moines.
You got several awards. How many events did you fly in?
5.
Good flying.
Got 5 awards. Flew in 5 and took home 5 awards. So not too
Good
bad.
job, man.
That's pretty good.
What was the weather conditions like? The wind and temperature?
Wind was almost perfect. It was really hot though. Really hot and humid.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, is your dad there too?
He was, but he's not able to fly probably pretty much the rest of this season. I bought a house and I was moving and he was helping me move and he fell through the attic of my shed and blew out his rotator cuff and flying arm. So,
oh boy.
So he had surgery on that this spring and Doc said it'll probably take about a year for it to get back to the way it used to be or close to it.
Oh man. Well, maybe he can build some front row planes while he's laid off from flying.
Yeah, we'll see.
Hopefully the flight surgeon will clear him and he can get back to it.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see.
We're close to it. Man. Well, maybe you got anything on the building board lately?
No, I didn't get anything done this winter. That's why I haven't been on these hangouts for quite a while. I bought a house in February. I closed on it in February. And so I had to move everything over to here and been doing upgrades and changing stuff around here and just now finally getting fairly well settled in. So I didn't get to fix my Shark that I needed to redo the motor mounts in. I didn't get to recover the Cardinal. And my Magnum is still in the same condition it was last year. So
now at the contest, were you flying a Strega?
Yeah, I flew the Strega, the Cardinal, Ringmaster, my half-A stunner, and a Vico P51 in classic stunt.
Yeah, I noticed they had a half-A Pampa stunt pattern event there. Did you fly in that?
Yeah, I got second in that.
I have never tried. We've never had a half-A stunt event at the Huntersville contest, and so it hadn't even occurred to me to go out with my half-A's and try to fly some patterns. Usually I go out and just sling them around freestyle and don't try to do any pattern flying, but I probably could prop them down a little bit, slow them down to a manageable speed.
Yeah, I've got an electric Skyray, and my timer cut out in the 4-leaf clover.
Ah, crap.
I needed about 3.5 more laps.
Swing them around freestyle. Somebody's got their YouTube channel on in another tab, and I can hear it echoing what we're saying.
That might have been me. I was trying to figure out how to join. Here, I shut it off.
Oh, okay, yeah. And we had Chris on here the other night, and we kept hearing an echo. He ended up having to put headphones on to stop it because the background application in his telephone was completely invisible. We couldn't figure out how it was re-looping like that, but headphones solved the problem that night. So I see Gerald's back. What you got for us, Gerald?
Oh, I'll just show you this. This is my adapted RC car controller for control line stunt or control line carrier, and it just uses the throttle for your third line effectively using the 2.4 gigahertz.
Yeah.
So
Right on.
I was using the little button on the side for my carrier hook. What I should have done though, when I thought about it, it seemed a great idea. But using my forefinger for the throttle with a large model, all the weight of the model was on 3 fingers, and it was really uncomfortable. I kept wanting to idle down all the time.
Oh.
So I should have just left that trigger finger stationary and used the wheel on the controller instead to control the throttle, because it's just too hard with the large model to hold on with 3 fingers.
Well, now you know what to do when you build the next one.
Yes. We're selecting the RC unit. I just added a bit of sheet metal around it. It really needs to be custom made, having the right components where you want them. Having if you fly left-handed, it would be easy to control the throttle with your right hand, but if you fly right-handed, then it gets a little bit awkward. But,
yeah, that's what I was noticing. The knob's in an inconvenient position to reach around it. So.
But in the past, I used a servo controller, and I set the signal down the lines. I used that on this model here. It was one of the first models I set up using an insulated line and using a servo controller and control the motor. That system worked quite well, but the drag on the insulated lines is quite high. And I like the tricycle undercarriage that enabled me to win profile scale with it at our national, at least 10 years ago now. But it was a great little model to fly.
Now,
And
is that a scratch built?
And this one here is another kit model that is a Goldberg with the shoestring stunter wing with a scratch bolt fuselage.
Right on.
And because I got the dihedral added to it, instead of using a ball joint, I just put 2 arms on the push rod, and this one here can move around to allow for the movement of the dihedral.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, good
that
job.
Shoestring's got a great wing on it for catching air and prop hanging, probably. I flew beginner with a shoestring stunter before I knew better than it was too twitchy to be trying to learn to fly patterns with, so I was flying loops the size of beach balls. But it's got it sounds like, I think it's got a great wing, I would guess, for carrier, especially when you have to slow down and fly at a stall speed and prop hang it.
This one flew really nicely with the tricycle undercarriage. Stopped all the nose over.
I've never flown a plane with tricycle gear on it. Pathfinder's got tricycle on it.
I was just thinking for the next stunt model, I'm quite keen to build one in the format of the E-Cobra, but using a larger motor with a bigger, like 800 square inch wing. But yeah, that one was purely just set up as an entry level model for control line profile carrier or just a carrier scale.
How much bigger square on your wing?
I was aiming to use one of my Fox Hawks that I've set up for control line and I was aiming for about an 800 square inch wing.
Wow, that's a big wing.
I'll bring up the model that I flew with the HP 61. I talked about it on the Stunt Hanger. The motor's not in it, but you can get an idea of the sort of format that I wanted to use. I built it as a scale model. So I'll grab it and bring it out now anyway.
Okay, that'd be cool.
Jared, I've reminded everybody else. Just want to make sure y'all realize that if there's something you want to see and lock onto in one member's screen, if you just click on it, it'll lock onto their screen, and it'll have a white border around the square white border around the edge of it. And then when you're through looking at what he's doing, you can unclick it and it'll switch back to automatically going between whoever's talking or moving the most.
Gotcha.
I didn't know if you knew that or not, but trying to get everybody realizing that, because like when Gerald's showing his planes, I click on his screen and I can see just him. That way it doesn't switch back and forth.
Most of the time when he was showing his planes, it was a black screen with the G in the middle for me. That was it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it must have been some type of video link failure or something.
Must have been.
But I was having trouble trying to find the link to get to the Hangout, and then I went onto YouTube, and there was like live comments, and I scrolled up and I seen where Robert had posted a link there, and I just tried clicking that, and that got me to it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was actually me that posted it. It just says Robert because it's his channel. I've got the keys to his channel here.
Oh, I got you.
That's another one that can't find it in Stunt Hanger.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
I got on
posted in the forums.
I didn't see it.
The live streaming forum at the bench.
Well, that's where I went, but I didn't see it. But maybe I was looking the wrong place.
What we got, Gerald?
This here is a combination of two people's efforts, my friend Dave Wright's wing and my fuselage tailplane. And it's about an 800 square inch wing. And I originally used a HP 61 rear induction. It's a two-piece model, so I'm just holding it in place loosely now. But you can see the huge cutout at the back so I could get to the rear induction.
Yeah.
And I pulled the HP off it and put on a ASP 91 four-stroke, and it flew very well with the four-stroke.
Boy, that's a lot of engine.
Yeah, it's a lot of airplane.
It flew very well. I think with the large tail surface area and the large flaps really helped it turn quite tightly. And it was a lot of fun to fly, but a bit of a handful on a windy day.
Yeah. Yeah, I've learned my limits on how big of a plane I can handle, because at 125 pounds, a big plane like a Magnum will walk me like a dog on a breezy day, especially pulling out at the bottom. I have wheel hopped the bottoms of my Hourglass several times with that Magnum.
It's always exciting when the wind comes up and you try to keep your maneuvers positioned into the wind to help keep the speed down. But I suppose when it's a really windy day, I tend to opt for a smaller model. Like you say, it can get a little bit too much of a handful.
I'd like to be able to fly big models just to feel like what it's like, because I think they probably really cut through the wind a whole lot better than my little 41 to 45 ounce models do. And I'm comfortable anywhere from 40 ounces up to 55 or so. But once you get over 55, they start pulling a little too hard for me, because I have enough balance trouble to where I don't need the plane pulling me around.
You'll go get yourself a Nobler. That Nobler wing, something about it, that thing cuts through the wind. I've been flying since I was like 13 years old, and there's nothing that I've ever come across that has the design to fly through the wind like that Nobler wing. I don't know what it is about it.
I've got a Nobler ARF that is all ready except for the glue in the wing on, so I need to get on that as soon as I get my twister back in the air, hopefully next week. And I've got a Cardinal coming back from Brodak when all of my friends come back. Hopefully they'll have my new kit. So I'm going to build that for my backup to my twister.
So
You
is
got
your
a fun-
Nobler a top flight?
Yeah, I think it is a top
Yeah.
flight. Yeah.
That's really a good flying airplane. My son's got 2 of them, and we've totally destroyed another.
Yeah. Mine's kind of a spare parts Nobler. I'm combining some spare parts somebody gave me and a wreck, and between the two, I got a whole airplane. So it ought to be in pretty good shape. I put new controls in it and stiffened everything up. So I'm hoping it'll fly pretty well. I'm hoping it'll fly with a 35 so I can put one of the 4-ounce Dubro clump tanks in it. But
What's the altitude you're flying in?
about 450 feet.
Oh, you won't have any problem with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm flying at 4,500.
Whoa.
And
Yeah.
the air is so thin here, you got to have a good motor, you
Yeah.
know, to get through everything. Is you're powering through this non-air here. You got to have more motor to do that because, well, at 45 feet, you lose 15% of your horsepower anyway.
Yeah.
So
Are you south of Boise?
I'm straight east of Boise. I'm in Pocatello. I'm about 3 hours east.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I know
our
just-
elevation here is higher than if you go an hour farther east. You go into Soda Springs, which is that altitude there is over 5,000 feet. It's like it's as high as Denver, a mile high. So yeah, it's way up there. And,
Yeah.
you know, and air conditions as far as altitude, density, atmospheric pressure, it makes a big difference when you're flying this high altitude.
I know just from driving through the mountains how much the air pressure affects the engine power, because my otherwise fast car turned into a complete slug, you know, once I got up to some altitude in the mountains. And the East Coast mountains are nothing like what y'all have out west.
Right.
But I don't, and I've turned on TV.
Oh, you
and
got
seen
some big
drag
spots on
racing.
the East Coast too.
I've turned on TV and seen drag racing going on in Colorado, and I'm thinking, good Lord, why even bother? I don't see how those guys can even race in that kind of altitude. Of course, everybody's got the same handicap, but damn, I don't know how much it cuts the ETs down.
Yeah, and Jared, there you got the Sig Magnum.
Yeah.
I've got
Yeah, I've got one that I've put together and another one in the box to build. And I'll tell you what, that between that one and Strega, the Brodak Strega, they really have good wings for flying this high altitude. But that's where I found the Nobler. I've flown a lot of airplanes, and that Nobler does handle the air for a 35 size airplane. It handles the wind very well, probably as good as anything I've ever come across.
Yeah. Well, the Strega's got, a super thick airfoil on the wing, so that's what helps it, at the altitude.
Yeah, I just ordered one of them from Brodak a few days ago because I want to build, I want the wing, and then I'm going to use probably 80% of that kit, and I'm going to design my own Mustang. It'll be more like the real Mustang. I go to the Reno air races every year. I've done it since they started in '64.
Oh, I'd love to do that.
And anyway, I'm going to build one that's more scale to the real Strega.
Yeah.
But I want that wing. That wing is that 740-inch wing. It's a hell of a wing, man. A lot of other kits out there, but nobody has that thick wing. And that makes a lot of difference on your turns, especially in this thin air that where I'm at here.
Yeah, that's kind of what I did with mine. I changed the rudder and I added like a belly pan, kind of like a radiator scoop, and changed the color on the fuselage to look a little bit more like the real one, and then had some custom decals made.
Cool.
Yeah, I really like the way mine flies. It still could be better. I'm going to make some changes when I get some time, but
Yeah, my son's
right
got
now it's
one.
pretty good.
We fly it, and it flies really good. It's an impressive airplane, and you know, you get those 60-inch wingspan airplanes with those 60 engines in them, and man, they fly. And my son bought him one of the T-Rex, and I'm setting it up right now. It'll have an OS 75 in it.
Yeah.
It's going to be. I have to put a little tail weight in there to balance it out, but I'm getting pretty anxious to fly that. But our weather back here has been rainy for the last few days. It's just living in this high country. You don't have much summer.
Right.
I got a friend of mine that lives up in Wallace. He says he wakes up almost every day and it's still snowing up there.
Oh yeah, Wallace is way up there. That's way up towards isn't that high end up towards Montana, or is that right to the east?
Coeur d'Alene.
Yeah, Coeur d'Alene. That's right. That's way up there. But their elevation up there is only around 2,500 feet. It's way lower than what we are here.
Right.
But they get a lot of cold snow up there for a long time. It's it's kind of a different climate up there where they're at. Well, I'll tell you what, there's some beautiful country up there though, man.
Pocatello, you're just like Fresno area. You get hot in the summer.
Yeah, it gets pretty hot. You know, one summer about 10 years ago, it only made 90 degrees 2 days in the whole summer. But most of the time we'll be in the high 90s for about a week and a half, and then it usually cools back down to 90. And we were like 90 just a few days ago. Now we're only like 55.
Yeah, we were 100 2 weeks ago, and now we're 75. The weather's really weird this year here.
Wow. Yeah, my daughter right now, she's down in San Diego. They're on vacation, their family, just living it up down there for the next 10 days. It's like that'd be fun.
Nice weather down there.
Way to answer what you were talking about there, Rusty, at the Denver, the drag racing. The norm is about a half second slower than what your car runs at lower altitude.
Really?
Yeah, you know, even when they're running those big old blowers, you just can't get enough of that atmospheric air in there to make them go like they do at sea level, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, if there's no air, there's no air, no matter how much blower you got. But yeah, that always made me wonder. But a half a second, that's a lot for a top fueler too.
That is.
Well, can I butt in a minute? I'm just wondering, how does humidity affect it? Because we get a lot of humidity here. A lot of our flying's at sea level, and we seem to get some quite strange runs when the humidity level's really high. Does extra nitro cause more problems? Or most of the time I use 10% nitro, but when the humidity is really high, it doesn't seem very happy at all. Most motors seem to have problems.
In my experience, I see a lot more difference from temperature changes over the course of a day than humidity changes. And I don't know, maybe humidity could very well, you know, it brings oxygen too, H2O. So I don't know how much the combination of hydrogen and oxygen affects it.
You know, the one thing you might think about is getting you an air density meter. You get a high density around that 95 and 98, and your engines will run and perform really well. When it goes below that 90, that's about the time that you're using higher nitro fuels and trying to compensate for that.
Yeah.
You know, going from 10% or 5% up to a 15%. You know, a lot of these engines, like I run a lot of Fox engines, and they're actually designed to run 30% nitro, and I only run usually 10% in them.
Yeah.
But you know, the higher nitro might compensate for some of that humidity. I don't know. The air that I fly in is really dry. Up in this altitude where I'm at, it's just dry. Even in the fall and early spring, it's a dry air compared to what you guys have to deal with your humidity. So, you know, and I watch a lot of videos. I watched videos for years since they've been putting them on a flying. Humidity does play a factor, but I've never experienced flying it.
I've never made any conscious adjustment for it.
But
Yeah,
I know temperature range, like Rusty says. For me, temperature range will affect it. You know, warm air to even cold air. You can change your needle a few clicks just by the air change.
At the contest at Triple Tree last weekend of Joe Knoll a couple of weeks ago, we flew first round in 62-degree air, and it was almost misty. It was so wet. And we flew second round with clear skies and 95-degree air. Now, that was a hell of a change from first round to second round, 62 to 95.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
I remember on a damp day, your methanol soaks up water.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. And I've seen people unscrew the tops of their fuel cans and walk away and leave them off. I never do that unless it's an accident. Walk away from a fuel can with the top off.
Even nitro will soak up water.
Yeah. I don't like to leave a fuel can without a lid on it. I close them up.
Yeah, well, I've had that problem with fuel as well. I lost a 20-litre container of fuel. It just had too much oil, water absorbed into it, and the motor would start missing. It was that bad. And then I put a fresh batch of fuel in, and the missing went away.
Yeah.
So it does get bad enough to really give you a bad run.
Yeah, that's getting some pre-detonation going on.
Yeah, and I still see questions on the forums, people asking questions like, well, I've got this 20-year-old can of fuel, blah, blah, blah. And just use it for soaking engines or something, you know.
Yeah, just get rid of it. Start with some new. Every year you should be running new fuel.
Yeah. Oh, you know, Gerald, when you first came on, we were talking about something about fuel. Made me wonder if about diesel. We touched on that, and you said ether was hard to get. And I started wondering, well, what about nitromethane? Do you have any problem getting nitromethane in New Zealand?
Well, luckily they've got a strong drag racing set that raced down to Mary, about 60 kilometres south of Auckland City, and the drag racers are quite keen to sell off the fuel, the nitro that they don't use at the end of a season. So that sometimes comes on the market.
Yeah.
And there's a few specialist suppliers that will supply nitromethane, and even just getting castor oils got more difficult. I've been using the Benol castor, the Colts Benol, but for a long time I just couldn't get a good source of castor oil.
Man.
But the move to electrics made it hard. Everybody's not buying fuel, so the shops aren't stocking the fuel anymore. And we used to have probably more than a dozen hobby shops in Auckland, and we're down to just a couple that stock fuel now. But,
is it very expensive over there? Is it not too bad?
The fuel itself's not too bad. We probably spend more fuel in terms of gas driving to the flying than we do on our actual fuel. So I can't really moan about the fuel prices, but our dollar's like 60 cents to your dollar, so it would probably cost about $5 a quarter of a gallon to make a comparison of the fuel price. So yeah, the fuel's not the big cost for running. It's just getting to the different venues, I think, is the biggest issue for us.
Wow.
You know, around our area, we can't get the old castor oil fuel. It's all half and half shit, you know. It's all that Kool-Aid.
Yeah. Well, the half and half is good if you've got an engine that's, well, all the ABCs are fine with it, but if you've got an old Fox that's been run and gummed up with castor, that synthetic will wash the beneficial castor varnish off and you'll lose compression. So if you start a Fox out on castor and synthetic mix early in life, then you get the good thing about that half and half is you get a beneficial coating of varnish, but the synthetic keeps it from growing and growing into too much varnish. Like we used to have to devarnish the old Cox engines and stuff. And I guess, you know, anybody that flew control line back in the pure caster days had to do that. But the 50-50 mix is great for engines that get broken in, or at least start getting it early in life in their diet.
Well, like the Power Master 1022.
Yeah, that's my
fuel. Run off the Fox one.
That's what I run my Foxes on. Actually, I only got one Fox, but it runs fine on that.
Huh, I haven't had no luck with it on them.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, being that I've only got one engine, I'm not much of a reference source for that. So just my experience, it ran fine. But yeah, I did worry about it a little bit because it was an older engine, 1958 model engine, and so it's probably got a lot of caster varnish on there that I could eventually wash off if I keep using the blended fuel. So I might
Yeah,
do you run your
the key
on them?
What was that?
Do you run your TDs off of them too, of 1022?
KDs?
Yeah, 049.
Oh, the old
yeah,
TDs. Yeah.
no, I use SIG 35 with 50-50, 20% 50-50 oil.
Yeah, there you go.
Mm.
Well, the key thing with the Foxes is to run them enough that they don't sit for a long time. That's when they end up getting gummed up and sluggish.
Yeah.
Even, you know, and I even put after fuel or oil after run
oil. Yeah.
You know, after if I know it's going to sit through the winter or whatever, but they'll still try to get gummed up. So once in a while, I'll go down there and I'll turn props and you know, or put a prop on an engine and turn them and put a little more oil in them and, you know, take the glow plug out, wash them out a little bit. And then you're okay. It's just more maintenance to your engines. And, you know, most of mine now that I run are ball bearing. Now I seen Gerald's, you got the old, that's a bushing engine, isn't it? The Fox you had on your airplane.
That one was a bull race one, but I've got a bushing one on a biplane on one of the Sterling Great Lakes biplanes.
Yeah, see,
right now, the bushing one.
Your bushings is the ones you have the most problem with. That bearings, usually, you know, you can open them, get oil through them pretty quick and get them, you know, freed up pretty easy. But the bushings are the toughest ones because you got that long bushing in your crankshaft there that you know, sometimes you have to heat them a little bit to get that to where it loosens up, and
the wrist
that's a pain. But yeah, the wrist pin. Well, the wrist pin usually will open up too. But you know, even sometimes you just got to do it and put them on a test bench and just run them a time or two, and then you're good to go.
Usually, if I open an old one up, I'll take the back plate off and pour some WD-40 in it with the piston upside down. Just fill it up, let it sit, and then heat it up with a heat gun and pull on it with an Allen key, and it'll start sliding. Because I'm always scared it's going to egg out the hole in the piston if I don't loosen it up.
Well, what I worry about somehow that ends up scratching this piston, the cylinder liner.
Yeah.
And you scratch one of them, and it's done. You know, it's time to start with a new engine, or you know, put a new piston and liner in there, cylinder. But you know, it just they're a little more maintenance than most of them. And I tried to get some Fox parts 2 or 3 weeks ago, and their website's down, and apparently they got people laid off. I don't know what they're doing.
Fox ain't doing too good in the model engine industry anyway. I don't know what they are doing, but
you got so many model airplane engines out there that are competition. It's like my son, he was buying these Magnum Pros off eBay, you know, like the 45 and 46s. He's buying them for, you know, $30. and you get them and they got a muffler with them and everything and their
Yeah.
bearings. And I'll tell you what, them things run as good as these OS engines. It's amazing. It's like, wow.
Those are badass engines.
Yeah.
That's like a Thunder Tiger Pro, isn't it?
Yes, it is. They're Chinese made, but they're like copies of the OS. And I mean, to tell you what, they flat get it done. Smooth running engines. It's crazy.
This spring during contest season, I was flying a borrowed plane, and it had a Thunder Tiger ball bearing, Thunder Tiger Pro 39 on it. I think it was a helicopter engine originally, and that's a pretty tough. Those ball bearing engines are strong engines, and I had a 25 on my shoestring back when I was flying beginner too, a Pro 25, 25. And that was a powerful engine. Also my Magnum, it was 72 ounces, but I had a OS 46 FX on it, which was a ball bearing engine. And that 46 hauled that 72 ounce plane around like it was nothing. So I'm surprised at how much difference there is between a bushed and a ball bearing engine.
Oh yeah, you get a lot more juice out of a ball bearing. You just don't have the drag.
Yeah.
You got a little more weight you have to deal with, but I'll tell you what, the trade-off is well worth it. All my engines, well, I should say almost all of my engines are going to ball bearing.
I just put them in the dirt so much that I don't want to run ball bearings.
Well, what you do is you get a few engines on your shelf for backup. That way you just pull them off there. It's like my son with that Nobler we had a while back that he put in the dirt. We just changed the whole, because they bolt up from the back plate. Plus they have a front plate for your ball bearing and everything come off the front of your crankshaft. Well, anyway, you just take that front off, put the other one on there, and he was good to go again. It was only a 10-minute change.
Okay. And you've given me the inspiration to go out and crank my Fox up. It's on my Yak 9. It's been about a year since I ran it, so I think I'm going to pull that thing out and give her a rip tomorrow and let it warm up and melt all the kids are home.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, here's my son Otto and my son Max.
Hey, good to meet you guys.
How you guys doing?
Two young budding flyers. Max, can you tell them about your
That's awesome,
man. And Otto, can you speak to the screen and tell them about your Tony a minute, just before we sign off, and I'll get them some afternoon tea.
This is my Tony. It's well, just most pets, you can say. It's one piece.
The Noe 15.
Noe 15.
That's a cool plane.
That is an awesome airplane.
Yeah. Well, nice to meet you, bud.
And next, you tell them a bit about your mountain.
I've also got my cat Martlet. I like the name Martlet. What for this point? We based it off one play in particular, which was from an English museum. I didn't want to do the terms I want to like to see, but I think I just wish I could do it now.
And you did an SE5, didn't you? An SE5 biplane before it.
Well, you guys are some awesome builders.
Yeah. Do y'all go out and pit for your dad, and does he pit for y'all when you fly?
Yeah, we were flying just a couple of days ago.
Yeah, I can now fly by myself rather than flying with many other people. I feel quite pleased with myself.
You can take off a man, can't you?
Yeah. All
That's
right.
great.
I'm glad y'all are getting into it. That's fun stuff.
Oh, well, thank you very much for your hospitality.
Bye.
Hey
And
guys,
I'll sign off and I'll get them some afternoon
Enjoy
tea.
your visit.
come back on. Come and have some fun.
Yeah, thanks, Carol.
Okay, thanks very much.
We'll see you guys.
Good night.
Good night.
Tell you what, it's a blast. I've been pitting for a bunch of combat guys here, and they're running Nelson 36s, man. Them things are rough.
That's
Yeah.
good. That was a good old engine back in the day.
I saw one come off of a combat plane and fly all the way across the field before it finally quit. I don't know if it took the bladder with it or what, but it kept going for a long way.
And it's over 100 miles an hour on 60-foot lines.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of ball bearings, I tore one up, chewed one up at the Des Moines contest on my Tiger 60 on my first flight after I landed. The whole side of the fuselage was black and destroyed the front ball bearing. So luckily I had a spare engine, so I swapped out engines, and then I've got it fixed. I ordered a new bearing and put it in already, but yeah, chewed one up.
Wow. I've never had one just go like that. I've had them slowly go, and it sounded like they were crushing rocks while they were flying, but I've never had one just completely lunch.
Yeah, and what's amazing is the motor kept running just fine. I mean, it never changed, nothing. I made it through the pattern just fine.
Just heated everything up.
Yeah, and didn't notice it till we picked up the plane to carry it back to the pits. It was, just
Black.
covered in black shavings.
That's never good. Yeah, black goo is never a good thing.
Yeah.
So Rusty, is your Yak 9, is that a Sterling kit?
It is. And
Yeah, I've got one that I've built, and that thing, I put a Enya 35 control line engine on that thing, and I mean to tell you what, that airplane has been into the ground over a dozen times, and we keep patching it up and flying it, and it still flies good.
I've never wrecked mine except for the occasional inverted landing when the engine burped out. But I'm
gonna take off. You can take it easy.
All right, good to see you, man.
All right, take it easy. I just recently, last October actually, bought a Sterling Mustang, which is of course the slow combat mate to the Yak 9. So I figured if I had a Yak 9, I needed its brother plane hanging next to it in the shop. So I want to get around to building that pretty soon.
Right.
And I think I'm going to put the Tuskegee red tail theme on it.
Cool.
And so I'm looking forward to building that. Probably be after I build my Cardinal now.
That's I learned to fly inverted on one of those Sterling P-51s.
Really?
Yeah.
Did it have the flaps operating, or were they static?
We actually had two of them, one with the flaps and one without, and the one with the flaps flew a lot better than the other one.
Did it? Everybody told me not to hook those flaps up, but I'd never flown a flaps plane before or built one, so I did it anyway, and it'll flat turn a corner. I mean, you can turn loops the size of beach balls with that thing.
Yeah, that Yak gets it done.
Neither one of the P-51s that we had, the Sterling P-51s, flew very good, but the one with flaps flew better.
Did it? I'm hoping it'll fly almost identical to the Yak. I think they're probably about building out to the same weight, that sort of thing. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But I couldn't, with my Yak, I couldn't fly a pattern with that thing if I had to. It's just too twitchy. I guess I could narrow it way down at the handle and probably do it, but
well, the problem you got with that Yak is the wing design doesn't have enough wing area, and you lose your lift.
Yeah, it just flies on horsepower alone, but
Yep.
it's great for taking out and slinging around,
Oh, yeah.
kind of like a half A model.
Yep, they're fun.
I hadn't looked over at the YouTube side in a few minutes. Let me check to see if anybody's posting over there. No, I was the last one to post. I posted another copy of the link to us, but looks like it's pretty quiet over there. It says 6 people are watching it. Yeah, it says we got 6 viewers over here too. I don't think that includes us.
And earlier you guys were talking about, heat and humidity. From what I've noticed, I've never really noticed much of an effect from the humidity, but I have noticed, big effect from temperature.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, you have to think about it before, like, if it changes between rounds, you gotta know how to compensate with your fuel and needle settings too. So
Yeah, for example, the first year I came to North Carolina, the first round of expert, there was almost frost on the ground.
yeah,
And I ran out of fuel in the 4-leaf clover.
yeah.
And then by the time the second round came around, it was almost 80 degrees.
Yeah.
And then I made it through the pattern just fine.
Yeah.
But my dad got caught in a torrential downpour at a contest. And he was literally having to fly with holding his hand up like this and looking between the cracks in his fingers to be able to see.
Oh my gosh.
Overhead maneuvers, and didn't affect the engine run one bit. It ran
really.
perfect.
I wondered about that. I've never actually flown in a pouring rain like that, but it seems like it would bother it having water sucked into the Venturi, but maybe the prop blows it away and it never really intakes that much water.
Yeah, I don't know. It didn't seem to affect our engine one bit.
Yeah. Did he like that picture of the Strega flying the rainbow?
The stiletto?
Yeah.
Yeah, he liked
the stiletto.
Yeah, I ended up doing 2 of them because there was kind of 2 different angles.
Yeah.
But I blew them up big and framed them, and yeah, they turned out really nice.
I got one of them, and I sent it to you. It was the one I had darkened up to give it really black, ominous looking clouds, and I put that one on my desktop screensaver. It pops up once in a while. That's a pretty cool picture too.
Yeah, he liked them. That was a pretty unique experience.
Were y'all flying? I mean, was it creeping up? Did y'all have thunderstorms jump on you that day when you were flying, or?
Yeah, I mean, they were in the area, but I mean, they were fairly well south of us, and then that one just blew in real quick.
Yeah.
I mean, it was probably raining, an eighth of a mile to the south of our field. I mean, we just kind of caught right on the edge of it, and then as it blew through, it went back behind the field, and then it was going to the north. And so, I mean, we were literally right on the edge, and then it was in the evening, so the sun was setting, and it just hit it just right and had that big old rainbow. And I'm like, man, I got to get a picture of this.
Yeah, that was great.
And the wind was just right, so where he was doing his maneuvers, across with it, so the plane was just going right up the rainbow.
Was perfect, yeah. It's just like it's flying the rainbow. That's a great picture.
It was really neat.
You ought to send that in. Well, all the magazines have black and white pictures. I guess if you read Stunt News online, it's in color, I think.
Oh, yeah?
That they probably print that if you send it in.
Yeah, might have to do that.
Have any of you guys ever been shocked through the handle while you were flying?
I have.
I have not. I've heard and seen it discussed on Stunt Hanger, but it's never happened to me before.
Well, what happened with me is me and my son both, we were flying with an Easy Just handle, which is, the plastic handles. And we were flying and it was cloudy and it wasn't, there was no lightning. I mean, if there's any sign of lightning, we're packing it up. But there was no sign of lightning, and there was some power lines on the east or the west side of where we were flying, but we've flown there a lot of times, never had any trouble. But apparently there was enough electricity in those dark clouds when they were coming over that we were, it wasn't a heavy zap. You know how kind of you, I don't know if you've ever took a 9-volt, put it on your tongue and felt that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it kind of felt that once in a while, like 3 or 4 times in a tank of gas, flying. And I told my son when I got done, I says, man, I was getting zapped on that handle. Well, anyway, we hooked up to his airplane and he flew it, went around, he come back and he says, I was getting the same thing. And I said, well, we better pack it up then. That means we're probably going to be getting some lightning. So we packed it up.
Unnerving. Yeah.
We packed it up and we never did get any lightning out of that storm, but there was enough electricity in that that's about what it felt like, was that 9-volt zapping on your hand.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know, if I had some 130C 3M electrical tape on that, you know, it wouldn't have never happened. But then you can't get your wire back there to adjust your handle if you want to. But
yeah, I used the all wood Tom Morris handles with the aluminum bar in the front, so my hand's not in contact with any metal at all, and
yeah,
so
that
I guess that protects me from it.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, it'll make you think. It's like, man, this is
Yeah,
I don't know about this. I think I'm done for the day. But my son wanted to fly, and so I said, well, go ahead. So he put one flight in and says, yeah, I think I'm done too. So we rolled up the lines and headed out. Yep. Yeah, it's too dangerous.
I had the same thing happen with also an Easy Just handle. And, you know, if you look at an Easy Just handle, that cable comes through the back.
Yeah,
Yep.
sure does.
On it, that the wire is actually on your palm.
On your palm, yeah, the hot rock and all of those.
Yep. And that's exactly what happened to me too. It's just like you say, it wasn't stormy. It wasn't, you know, about to storm. There was just a few gray ominous clouds kind of moving through the area. And, I might have lost you guys there, but
You're still
with
here.
you.
okay, yep. So anyways, I was getting shocked going over the top of the circle too. And it's about, like you say, about like a 9-volt shock.
Yeah.
We end up actually switching handles to a Fox handle and then didn't have any trouble the rest of the day.
I would guess that on a clear, dry winter day that the lines would be ripping enough electrons out of the air to shock you, but I've flown on plenty of clear, dry winter days and never had that. But
yeah, that's the only time I've ever had any trouble, is when those dark, rainy looking clouds come around.
Yeah.
You know, well, you get the gray ones, the dark gray ones with the light ones, and they're mixing it up. And of course, that's how it makes your lightning anyway. But
yeah,
there was enough static in them clouds that we was getting some of it.
definitely a warning. A shot across the bow. We got a pretty good chat going tonight. I'm glad we got some. Gerald new came in. Wiley's new. We got to get your camera working, Wiley.
Yeah, I'll have it going next time we get on here. You can see my old face.
Yeah. And Minnesota Mike, that's the first time I've seen him in person, and I've been swapping emails with him for about a year now, I think, off and on. So he finally got set up.
Well, the control line is, you know, it's a sport that when I grew up, we had a lot of control line flyers here, but my mom and dad owned a model shop, and you know, we had quite a few flyers here, and it was back in the days. Remember the Kraft radio control units that you used to could build back in the early 70s and late 60s.
Yeah.
You know, that's where the radio control guys were really getting into it, those Kraft units that they could build. And anyway, they were selling some of those, and then they had a shop from 72 to 83, I think it was 82, 83. Anyway, we sold out, but I flew pretty strong and heavy back in them days. I was young enough that I go out and burn a gallon of fuel in a day, no problem, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got married, and then it slowed down, and then I ended up, I guess it was about 85. I pretty much dropped out of the sport until probably 6-7 years ago, and I decided I was going to come back in it and fly again and build models. So I had a pretty big lapse there of non-building, non-flying, and now I've got a whole house full of airplanes now. And
that sounds like a lot of our stories, you know, family, college, all that stuff.
Yeah, you know, and this town I live in, there's only me and my two boys that I know of that even fly control line anymore. I mean, a lot of people stop and watch, but
Yeah.
you know, and getting these kids to fly. I got my grandson flying, and he didn't even care for it. You know, it's like we're getting old, and we're not seeing very few, well, just very few kids coming into the sport. You know.
I was born, like a lot of us, into the post-war generations where my grandparents had been affected by World War One, my parents World War Two, and everybody was fascinated with aircraft and aviation back then, and so airplanes were cool, you know,
Yeah.
and of course
That's
we didn't
that's
have computers and all that stuff to distract us either. But I think that contributed a lot to so many people getting into it back then, and now it's not. You know, airplanes are just airplanes to young people now, and so
I think that's exactly it. They're just, you know, they've lost their lackluster, and it's just, you know, modern day. Oh yeah, airplane. So what?
yeah. That's a shame for us because it's such a great sport.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm well. You're not an old guy yet, Jared, but a lot of us. I feel like an old man athlete. You know, I mean, we still get out there as old and, you know, beat up as my body is. I can still get out there and fly airplanes and stuff, and that's a full body experience. I mean, you must walk about 5 miles during a exhibition out at the local field, and so it's good. It keeps us going.
Yeah, you know, my oldest son, he's just turned 40, but he has his own business, and time's a factor. So his airplanes, I build, and he buys ARFs. I put them together, and he flies them. You know,
Yeah,
and me, I'm a builder. I want to build an airplane and then go fly it. So, you know, I got 3 in my basement right now that I need to finish up.
mm-hmm.
And I've been remodeling a house for my sister and getting her in there. And I just finished it just a few days ago. So now I'm going to be back to the time working on my airplanes. And not only that, I've been into radio control, and I dropped out of that because I have a simulator that's a real good one, those real flights. And I like to fly that once in a while, but I dropped out of flying radio control because I still prefer control line, because there's something about the connection that you have with the airplane.
You're a working part of the machine.
Yeah, which you don't have with the radio control. And it's that connection that something that I still enjoy, that I grew up with when I was a kid. And that's what I still like.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I have the same feelings. And now the RC guys that are really, really good at it, they don't have feedback from the plane in their controls, but they are one with their machine too. And they would argue that you are just part of the machine. But
you know, and I can agree with that, because, like I say, I've flown radio control, and I've got the real flight that I can design my own airplane flight, blah blah blah, all that stuff on their simulator. But to me, it's just not the same as feeling that weight on them wires, you know, and what you're doing with it. So,
yeah,
but that's me personally.
I fly both radio control and control line, and yeah, having the feel of the control line plane is just uncomparable to radio control.
Yeah.
I'm always a little nervous before I fly, particularly in contests. You know, just not really nervous, but just a little uptight. But when
that's normal.
When I wave off the pit guy and that plane starts rolling, I settle down, and just my whole demeanor changes, and I'm like, I got this. You know, this is what I do, and I probably smile when I fly, for all I know.
Well, that should put a smile on all of our faces.
Yeah. It's been the best part of my retired life, And so I'm so glad. So got so many guys are retired and have no clue what to do. And so
I'm
lucky.
retired too, and I know guys that are like that too. I got one buddy that he has no ambition whatsoever and lives his life in the chair. And boy, it's good to be able to do stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what we do. Like I say, we can put some walking in
Yeah.
when we're out there flying. It's all good.
Yeah, I know my dad, he can't wait till retire. That way he can start building planes and getting to work on all of his stuff he wants to build and then go fly and all that type of stuff.
Well, the problem you'll have there is he'll have so much other stuff lined up and stacked up that it even puts a crimping on your building. Even then, when I first retired 6 years ago, I've had 8 spine operations, and the last one, the doctor said, "You're done. You're not working anymore."
Yeah.
And anyway, you know, there for a couple of years, I built really steady. And then my body improved enough to where I could get out and do some things and stuff. And it's like, you know, and being an electrician that I am, everybody in the world wants you to come and help them. And so, you know, I do a lot to help people with wiring in their homes and stuff like that. And, you know, and it ties up your time. Like my sister's place, she's been involved in trying to get that done for the last 6 months. And so it's really tied up a lot of my time. And boy, I'll tell you what, like today, I was sitting down doing some things and I thought, man, it is so nice not to go over there and do something. You know, I can do some my own stuff again.
Yeah. I got friends like that. One of them is a air conditioner, HVAC tech. He does for a living, he does industrial, but
that's what I did.
He's always fixing
Industrial
everybody
machines.
in the family's machines and friends. He can't say no.
Yeah, that's
always
my
does
problem. You're Mr. Nice Guy. You just can't say no, you know?
Yeah.
So I can see where your dad's going, Jared. So warn him. Warn him. Say no, say no, say no.
Yeah.
How old is your dad, Jared?
What is he, 66 now, 65?
Yeah, he's right in there.
Yeah, he's in his prime control line age. So
Yeah.
Thing is being physically able to go out and do what we do. And like me, when I go out, my worst nightmare is falling down because my feet are pretty numb. And I've fallen down, and just luckily I've saved the airplanes from crashing when I've done that. But it's hard to get up off the ground when you got bad knees, you got a bad back, and then you're overweight, and it's for me it's hard. But you know, I do it, and I'm going to keep doing it until I can't do it no more. I don't know when that'll be, but until I can't do it, then I'll build airplanes, let my kid crash them.
yeah, you sound a lot like me. I've got some of those same problems, but I guarantee you that I can do more right now than I would be able to do if I hadn't been using this as a way to keep myself alive, keep my circulation going. So
Yeah.
it's beneficial to life.
Yes,
It's great stuff.
it is. And the thing is what we're doing, building these airplanes and stuff, it's keeping our brain active. You know, we're doing something with our hands, and we have to make judgments and, you know, things to do. And it's keeping our mind sharp. And that's a big part of it too. You know,
I get excited about it.
Oh yeah, I do too. I get pumped up, and when I want to go flying, I'm like a little kid again, you know, and oh yeah, let's load up a car and truck. Let's go, you know, let's go to the field. And yeah, it brings back the kid in you. I'm telling you, it's great.
Yeah, well, my dad's pretty good shape for his age, and like this shoulder injury he got, I guess it was a pretty massive tear from what the doctors were telling him, but when they did the surgery, they said when they opened him up, they said he looked like, you know, he had the body of like a 40-year-old or 45-year-old, and you know, he's over 60.
That's good.
Cool.
Great.
So,
well, when he gets feeling good, he can build a couple of planes, and then when the doctor says you're good to go, then he can go out there and rip up some air.
That's right.
So, Jared, was your dad into this when you were a kid, and that's what got you started, or?
Yeah, I'm actually third generation.
Oh,
My grandfather started, and then he got my dad into it. I think my dad was about 12, and then I've been flying forever. My dad's actually got pictures of me at like a year old where he's holding me out, in his arm in the circle.
like David
Awesome.
Smith and his kids out here, and Derek Barry too, holding their kids in their arms flying, and Mike Lonke and Sam. And Sam's turning into a good little pilot too.
Yeah.
I like that. Did you see that little paper that Sam wrote for school? I think he's in the 2nd grade, and he wrote a story about control line flying, and his closing sentence was, sometimes when I fly, I crash, and sometimes I don't crash. I love that.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm the same way. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I do.
My buddy Wayne crashed at KOI or Brodak. I think it was a KOI last year, trying to do an impressively low bottom on a square loop, and he mildly pancaked the ground, and Will Davis came running out and said, "What happened?" And Wayne just walking off the field, and he says, "Sometimes when I fly, I crash, and sometimes I don't crash." That's our new club mantra. I like Mike Lonke, though. He's a good guy. I hope he's watching us. I don't know if he watches these or not. I think Alan Parrott watches these. He told me he watches me all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Well, when I get my camera fixed, I've got some long cords. I'll take you into my airplane house. Show you some of my stuff.
I want to get that up out in my workshop too. That's something I've never been able to do.
Yeah, I've got some long cords that I ordered to hook up, and because I was thinking, it'd be nice to show some of the stuff. I've got a I don't know what you call it, a rack that I stack my airplanes in that holds, 5 or 6 airplanes, and they're holding the bigger ones. And I've got the parts to build a second one, and then I'm going to build a rack that goes on my receiver on my SUV that I can strap in 2 airplanes on it. That way I can put all my fly box and everything in the outfit. And that way, if I want to take a 60-inch airplane to the field, which I have plenty of 60-inch airplanes now, I can take one of them or 2 of them, or whatever. And because I don't have a truck anymore, I sold my truck. Being disabled, you just can't afford them big old trucks anymore. So at least this way I can, it's either that or I go ahead and build me a trailer, which that's an option too. But this is easier than building me a trailer.
Yeah.
And that way I can get to the field, and I've got a stooge that I built. I'll have to show it to you. It's pretty cool. That way I can fly off my stooge. If I happen to be alone, I don't necessarily like to fly alone, but sometimes there just isn't anybody,
Yeah.
And I don't even usually fly off of a stooge, when I have somebody there to pit for me. But if I'm there alone, I'll have my stooge to where I can, do that.
Yeah.
But, sometimes you just want to go and there isn't anybody,
I don't fly alone anymore. It's too much. It's too much risk for me. I'm anticoagulated on top of everything else, and so where my field is too far isolated for my comfort, even if I had my cell phone with me. So I always go with my buddies.
My biggest deal of flying alone isn't me. It's some stranger coming in and being stupid, that somebody there could, yell at them and stuff and get them away, to where, they're not going to be a danger.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest thing, is the danger of someone else.
Yeah, people that see you doing it don't realize that you've got those steel lines swinging around between you and the plane, and you know, you've got limited ability to dodge somebody that just walks into your path and you don't know it.
Yeah, that's the problem we have at our field. The city put in a walking path literally 5 feet from the edge of our circle, and people are just idiotic and dumb, don't get it at all, and they just walk right into the circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and some people they just don't have a clue, you know,
Yeah.
that you don't do that.
There was one time we were out there flying, and somebody in our club was flying by themselves, and they're sitting there doing their maneuvers, and somebody walked up behind them and taps them on the shoulder and go, "Hey, that's cool. What is that?"
Whoa.
Oh, man.
You had no idea that they were even there, you know, and they just walked in across the field, and, you know, had you been doing level laps, you probably took their head off, but
Yeah.
luckily they were doing maneuvers downwind, and, you know, this person walked up behind them, and yeah, we've got that problem at our field all the time too, especially now with that walking trail.
Man.
So you really, really got to watch.
Yeah, that ought to be staked out with some caution tape, you know, the tag stuff. And,
well, see, we've thought about that too, but the moment you put up something like that, then the public can go, "Oh, well, wait a minute. If I'm in danger, that field needs to go bye-bye."
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
So
I hear you.
That's the reason why we haven't done that. It's because then somebody will throw up a red flag and bitch, and then we'll lose our flying site.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, we just got to put up with it and try to watch people, and if you're flying, you really watch, and if somebody's coming in the circle, make sure you go up and go over them.
Yeah, well, my case too is I got a dog. I don't ever take my dog, but very few people sometimes on the track will take their dogs, and you never know when one of them, when you're landing, thinks your airplane's a toy, you know?
Yeah. Or running around and doesn't know the lines are there and gets tangled up in the lines. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've been pretty lucky so far. Hopefully it keeps going, knock on wood.
Ouch.
Yeah, and then, you know, we've got our pit area we keep on the opposite side of our circle from where the walking path is. But then we've also got a soapbox derby track to the north of our field. So we'll pit like in between the flying circle and the derby track. Well, then you've got people that walk. They want to go walk up and down the derby track for whatever reason. So they'll cut across, you know, the circle and then cut across our pits, and we'll see them starting to head over there like, hey, hold up, don't walk through there. And they just look at you stupid and keep walking, and, you know, they're dragging their feet and wad up your lines. It's like, come on.
Huh.
So, you know, we finally have like put cones up and cordoned off the pit area, but then you get people with their bikes that see the cones and go, "Oh, sweet, a slalom course."
An obstacle
Right
course. Yeah. Ew.
So yeah,
You just can't win.
No, you can't. It's ridiculous sometimes what we put up with out there, but people are just dumb.
Well, it's, you know, from where I live, 60 miles north of me, they have a radio control field, and off the side of that, they have a circle there for flying. I don't know if you could put 70-foot lines out there, but I walked it off one day, and you could do it with 60s with no problem. And, you know, that'd be kind of nice because that's a designated area. And down here in the town I'm in, they have a real nice radio control field, but there's nothing to fly control line. And they just won't even think about doing a control line, because when you only got 2 people in your town that fly, why should we put in all that effort and time and everything, putting the grass in and mowing it and water and all that? Why should we even deal with that, you know?
Yeah, and that's the trouble. I mean, eventually that's probably what they're going to say about our club, and they're going to take our field over for something. The only hope is that we've been there for so long, and it's kind of a designated area for that only. It might be our saving grace, but we're down to just a handful of active flyers. And I know that was the downfall of the Topeka club, is there was only about 2 or 3 guys flying, and they finally just said, well, we're going to put a water park where your field is at.
Shit.
So that's what's happened to Topeka. They've lost 2 flying sites now in about 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I joined a new club near Columbia because they're our field out at Fort Jackson, although it's a great place to fly, it's getting too hard to get in and out because of security. And club members can get a pass that you just show the guard coming in, but you can't take a friend, or you can't even take your grandmother out to watch you fly without having to go stop at the visitor center and get them a day pass and take them in and escort them. And if it was somebody that wanted to come fly with you that had a carload of planes, but they can't take their car in, they got to leave it at the visitor center. So, you know, it's such a pain in the ass that everybody's defected to another site. And so out at Fort Jackson, it's nobody but it's me and Wayne and Bob Zambelli are about it. And then so me and Wayne have both, and Bob have all joined up out at the Congaree site, which is about the same distance from my house. It's actually easier for them, but it's a nice place too. So we got two nice places to fly, but if you want to have a cookout or something, we have to do it at Congaree because Fort Jackson's out of the question.
So how far away is Huntersville from you?
90 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's on the north side of Charlotte. So Charlotte's about 70 miles from us. Huntersville's another 20 or so.
Yeah, I just didn't know where your home field was, or
Yeah, I'm in Columbia, South Carolina, and Huntersville. I go up there and fly sometimes at the meetings and that sort of thing. But other than that, I fly at the contest up there. And so I get up to Huntersville probably 4 or 5 times a year.
Yeah. I doubt that I'll make it down there this year with this buying this house and everything else. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty tight on funds, but
Well,
it's fun.
fair.
The last 2 years I came down there.
Yeah, so we've enjoyed having you come. It's people come from all over to fly at Huntersville. I'm real lucky to be within reach of so many good flying fields, including Huntersville.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you get to see all kinds of people that you've known from the forums or heard about and never expected to really actually get to meet. Same with Triple Tree. That's within 90 minutes of my house, where they have the Joe Knoll and the stunt contest. And so that's a day trip for me. I drive up on Saturday, fly Pampa, and drive home.
Yeah, that'd be a neat event to attend.
Yeah. And those circles at Triple Tree are like golf course greens. I mean, they're so smooth. You could fly the plane around with the wheels on the ground if you wanted to.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I'm gonna check out here. I'll probably try to see you again.
All right, thanks for dropping in, Jared.
Yep, we'll catch you guys
I'll
later.
close it up pretty early tonight. It's getting about time for me to turn in too.
All righty, we'll see you guys.
All right, take it easy. We got Wally and Steve and me. I guess we're the diehards, huh?
I guess.
Yeah, sorry guys, I had to leave for just a minute.
That's all right, Wally. I hope you get your camera figured out, and we'll be able to see your mug next time.
Yeah, I'll get it. I got 2 guys I can call tomorrow and see what I need to do. In fact, one guy just worked on my computer a couple weeks ago and put some more memory in it, another hard drive, and loaded my Windows 10 on there, and it changed quite a bit from 8. Now I'm lost.
Have you rebooted the system since you put the new camera on it?
No, I have not.
That might be all it needs.
Yeah,
I'll
it might
try
make a
that
difference.
when we get done here.
Yeah, because there's probably a command in your startup list that turns that camera on as soon as you boot. It doesn't turn it on, but it makes it ready. And so try that before you bother to call anybody. That might, I don't know how you'd know without trying to come on the chat again. But
Well,
anyway.
one of these guys, I can probably contact him and see if I can somehow link up with him and try it.
Yeah.
Because he's running one on his computer, and I don't know if he's Skyping or what he's doing. I know he had Skype a while back, and I had it now. I haven't got it on this new outfit yet, so probably can do it through there.
Yeah.
But he'll know. These guys are computer brains, and I'm not. When it comes to computers, I usually have my grandkids over here to fix my stuff.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's wrap it up for tonight, and hope y'all will come back Wednesday, and we'll do it all over again.
Sounds great, man.
I should be around.
Okay. All right. Well, like Sparky says, everybody, don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe to Stunt Hanger. Subscribe to Sparky's channel on YouTube, and like us and share us. And so fair winds, tight lines. See you later.
See
Good
you.
night.